Welcome to the channel, and what we're going to look at today are two separate accessories from Redi-Mag for the AR-15 platform. First, let's talk about the Redi-Catch. The reason for that is if you intend to install the Redi-Release also, you should install the Redi-Catch first. That's because of this big assembly here, which blocks you from rotating the magazine catch into place. The Redi-Catch replaces your regular AR-15 magazine catch. And you may ask, why would you want to do that? What does it do that a normal magazine catch doesn't do? Easy. It locks your bolt to the rear when you press the magazine release button. Where's that helpful? Well, in general, if you have feed stoppages, like double feeds, where you want to lock the bolt to the rear and get rid of the magazine as fast as possible, get pressure off that double feed and clear all that bad stuff happening from out from your rifle. It's especially useful for competition or range use, where you need to drop the magazine and lock the bolt to the rear to show an empty chamber to a range officer. Now, can you do all that with regular AR-15 parts? Well, sure, because we've been doing that for years. But the idea of the Redi-Catch is that you cut out steps to accomplish those tasks, and you utilize a more natural direction of strength with your trigger finger while keeping your strong hand grip on the gun to do those tasks. Many of you have probably been using other bolt carrier group manipulation parts that are well known, but those utilize a finger trigger movement that's not as strong, it's not as comfortable and ergonomic as simply pressing on the magazine button. The Redi-Catch works because it actuates this spring steel wire that's captured in the catch right here. There's a hole right here that this grabs onto, and then you've got a retention right here, and then it sits behind the bolt paddle, the bolt release paddle. And when you push that magazine release button, simply tension on that spring steel wire is what moves the paddle. Now, full disclosure on these parts, I was actually contacted by Redi-Mag to take a look at these parts, test fire them, put them on a rifle, run them for a while, and get some exposure for them. I guess I'd seen some videos of mine that I have done, and wanted my opinion on them because they offer some enhanced features, a little bit more efficiency than some other parts out there. So that's why we're taking a look at them. Now, on the Redi-Catch, as I mentioned, you just push on the magazine release button, and there's your bolt lock back. Simple as that. So this is a little bit stronger movement. You're more ergonomic than trying to lift up on a lever down here with your finger pushing up like this and trying to lock it back. It's also a little bit, you can maintain your grip on the gun more so than having to drop your grip a little bit to do this with your finger. So accomplishes the same thing as other parts out there, but a little bit stronger, a little bit ergonomic, a little bit more efficient. So now let's talk about where the efficiency would come into play with these parts. If I'm going to set up a double feed, I've got some dummy rounds and drop one in the chamber. I've got a mag. And now we've got our double feed. Well, typically when you got a double feed, you want to get that mag out, you want to get the bolt lock back as soon as possible and clear all that stuff out. So usually you'd have to get your bolt lock back, so you need to break your grip, need to get on your magazine release paddle, coming underneath or whatever you've got to do. Well, in this case, all I've got to do is push this button, the magazine release button, get the bolt lock back, keep it depressed, rip out the mag, and then start clearing the gun. Simple as that. Don't have to be fiddling up in the mag well, trying to reach up underneath, doing stuff one-handed, stuff like that. And I'm keeping my firing grip on the gun. So as soon as all that's clear and I've looked at it, I'm getting another mag out and I'm back going active. Now, another situation I mentioned where this would be useful is in the competition or just range use. I need to show an empty chamber to a range safety officer. So push the button, release my mag, lock the bolt back and clear that round, check the chamber, show it to the range safety officer, and that's done. So simply just by pushing the magazine button and keeping control of the gun very easily. So a little bit more efficient than some other parts out there, accomplishes the same goals. I've noticed it adds a bit more resistance to pushing on the mag release button to use the Redi-Catch because of that spring steel wire, but it's not enough to cause any worry on the range, and something you probably wouldn't even really notice. It's something you just would nitpick probably in your garage, but it is there. The spring is captured like I mentioned earlier, but I've yet to really abuse this rifle, you know, really put it through the ringer and say with confidence that, you know, this couldn't slip out of position, or maybe this, you know, would back off somehow if you were banging it on something, or if you caught it on, you know, a barricade or something like that. So we'll touch on that down the road if a problem arises. Installation of the Redi-Catch is a breeze. I mean, if you put together an AR-15 lower before, or ever messed with your magazine catch, it's very simple, nothing to worry about. Now moving on to the Redi-Catch, it's designed to work in conjunction with the Redi-Release, so let's cover that. And the Redi-Release serves a simple purpose, and that's to release the bolt carrier group, and that's all it does. So I'm going to push the Redi-Release the magazine button, lock the bolt back. So what does it do that other products don't do? Well, pretty much simply put, it's lower profile. You can see how tight it is to the lower receiver right there. It's right up against the lower receiver, whereas a lot of other products on the market hang much farther down here. And if you're wearing gloves or what have you, may get in the way, may bug you. The other thing that the Redi-Mag's trying to do with this different design is clear out that space and then lower the weight that's hanging off the bolt release paddle to ensure a more reliable function. The other thing they have is a really solid clamp. They've got a single screw going through there, and it really torques down hard on that bolt release paddle. Let's get some different light. There we go. So you can see how it clamps right around the bolt release paddle, and a little Loctite. You don't need to torque on this really significantly to get to hold on really tight. Now the benefit of the lower profile design is that with the bolt locked back, or the bolt closed, it stays low profile. That lever is always against the bottom of the receiver there, and that's because it's spring loaded. There's a spring going around this pin, pivot pin right here, that always keeps it as tight as it can against this lower receiver. So it stays out of your way. Probably make a range safety officer feel a little bit better, that it's a little bit more visible that it's out of the way, and that your fingers is working up here, not actuating something down here by the trigger. As you can see here, the Redi-Release sticks out quite a bit from the receiver, so it's actually really easy to actuate. It's not comfortable, or it's not cumbersome. It's real easy to get to while staying out of the trigger guard area, and it's also out of the way of the magazine release button. So I can still work that magazine release button and lock the bolt back and actuate the Redi-Release very easily. So simple as that. You've got two products from Redi-Mag that are meant to improve upon the AR-15 platform in the way of ergonomics, in the way of efficiency, cutting some steps out from your typical manual of arms that we're probably used to. You'd have to spend some time getting used to that. A little bit different manual of arms, of course. Now it's the time to go abuse these parts, see how they hold up on the range, and knock this rifle around and abuse it a bit, and see if these parts hold up. And hopefully they live up to the potential they offer, because there is some efficiency gain there. So for more info and the FAQ, you can hit up www.redi-mag.com. Stay safe and have fun.